Okay, when performing scientific notation operations, it's not much different than what we do regularly with regular whole numbers, except that the first thing that we're going to have to do is get everything out of scientific notation. So we're going to do this in a process. We're going to take things from scientific notation, we're going to change it back to standard form. We perform the operation by adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, and then we turn the answer back into scientific notation when it asks for it. So, for example, if you're looking at your packet and worksheet page 348, number 1, you will see this problem, and we have subtraction. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to turn 1.4 times 10 squared into standard form by moving our decimal point. So 1, 4, 0 is how you represent 1.4 times 10 to the second in standard form. And that is subtracting 1.1 times 10 to the second, which is really 110. You go ahead and subtract that, and you get 30. If you were asked to put this back into scientific notation, you add a decimal point at the end. You would move it over. We only moved it one time. So you would rewrite your answer as 3.0 times 10 to the first power. Okay? Look at number 3 now. Number 3, you're doing something very similar, except now we're going to do an addition problem. You've got 6.4 times 10 to the negative 2. And we're going to add that to 4.7 times 10 to the negative 3. Okay, this time we're dealing with very small numbers. So we still change this into standard form. This time we're moving our decimal because of the negative. We're moving our decimal 2 times to the left. So we've got 0.064, and we're adding that to point. Okay, we're going to move this over 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So that'd be 0.047. So in your calculator, press those numbers in. And you get 0.0687. And then we have to turn that into scientific notation. Now this time, the number is very small. So remember, we're moving the decimal to the right 2 spaces. So we're going to write this as 6.87 times 10 to the negative 2. Okay, let's move down now to a multiplication problem. Let's do number 5. All right, so 6 times 10 to the negative 4 multiplied by 4 times 10 to the 7th. So you have a very small number multiplied by a very big number. Okay, so first of all, 6 times 10 to the negative 4, you're going to have to add a decimal here. You're moving around it 1 time, and that means you're going to have to go 1, 2, 3. You're adding 3 zeros in front of it. You're going to multiply that times 4, if you put a decimal after it, and you are going to be adding 7 zeros after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so press that into your calculator. and you should get 24,000. Now, if we put that into scientific notation, we will put a decimal at the end of the number. We want to get the decimal after the 2, which means you have to move it 4 spaces. So we would rewrite this as 2.4 times 10 to the 4th power. Last problem we're going to do together is number 7, division problem. So we have 7.5 times 10 to the negative 5th divided by 3 times 10 to the negative 3rd. Okay. Again, we have to move our decimal point. This time we're moving it to the left. Move it over 1 time, and then we're going to have to move it over 4 more times, which means we have 4 zeros in front of that 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 5. Divided by, we're going to move around the 3, 1, 2, 3, which means we have 2 zeros in front of the 3. So, again, you're going to need your calculator. Which equals 0.025. And we're going to move the decimal point here to make this 2.5 times 10. Now remember, we moved to the right because this was a very small number, which makes this a negative exponent. So that's negative 2. And that is how you add, subtract, multiply, and divide with scientific notation.